The screen fades in, and we are pulled straight into the heart of the story. Heartland fans, the moment we thought would never come has finally arrived. Ty Borden is back. His return shakes the very ground of the ranch, leaving Amy, Lindy, and the whole family stunned. But this comeback is not just a surprise. It's a storm of emotions that no one could have prepared for. For years, the memory of Ty Borden has lived like a ghost in the lives of those he left behind. His sudden absence carved a hole so deep that it changed the rhythm of the Heartland ranch forever. When Ty's story came to an end, Amy was left with the impossible task of rebuilding her world while raising their daughter Lindy alone. Every corner of the ranch held a memory of him, the barn where he worked, the fields where he rode, the quiet moments with Amy under the wide Alberta sky. His presence was everywhere, and yet he was gone. Amy tried to remain strong. Not just for herself, but for Lindy. The little girl grew up with only pieces of her father's story, photos, whispered memories, and the love-filled tales Amy told her before bed. Lindy would ask questions, innocent and curious. What was Daddy like? Did he love horses too? Amy would smile even through her tears, telling her that Ty loved horses as much as he loved his family, and that every decision he made was to give Lindy a better future. But those answers never filled the empty seat at the dinner table or the silence on cold nights. The rest of the Bartlett-Fleming family tried to carry on too. Jack, the wise patriarch of Heartland, became Amy's anchor. He knew the pain of loss better than anyone, and his way of coping was to keep the ranch moving, to keep traditions alive, and to remind Amy that she still had a family to lean on. Lou, Amy's sister, often stepped in as a source of comfort, though she worried deeply about how Amy would handle the years of grief. Tim, never one to hide his emotions, struggled with guilt, anger, and helplessness all tangled into one. Everyone had their own way of grieving, but no one could deny that Ty's absence left an emptiness that shaped every day at the ranch. As the seasons passed, viewers watched Amy slowly reclaim her sense of self. She devoted herself to horses, using her gift to heal them and, in return, allowing them to help heal her. She poured her love into Lindy, determined to give her daughter the strength to face life with courage and kindness. But even as Amy smiled for Lindy, a part of her heart remained locked away, the part that once belonged only to Ty. His absence wasn't just the story of a lost husband. It was the story of a love that had been cut short, a future that had been rewritten, and a promise that could never be fully kept. This is the emotional backdrop that makes Ty's shocking return in season 19 so powerful. For fans, his reappearance is not just a plot twist. It is the revival of a dream long buried. The pain of his departure still lingers, but now, with his return, every memory comes flooding back with double the force. The question is no longer how Amy survived without him. It's how she will face the storm of emotions his comeback brings. For Lindy, the return of the father she barely remembers is like meeting a stranger who also feels like family. For Jack, Lou, and Tim, it's the challenge of deciding whether to protect Amy from heartbreak or to embrace the miracle of Ty's presence. The Heartland Ranch has always been a place of healing, but with Ty's return, it becomes a place of reckoning. Every tear shed, every moment of silence, and every quiet prayer Amy once whispered into the night is now staring back at her in the form of the man she thought she had lost forever. The stage is set for a season unlike any other, one where love, grief, and hope collide in the most unexpected way. It begins quietly, almost too quietly for such a moment. Amy walks through the ranch on a crisp morning, her boots crunching against the frosted grass. The ranch looks the same as it always has, with horses grazing in the distance and the sky opening wide above her. But something feels different, as if the air itself is holding its breath. Amy doesn't know it yet, but this is the day her entire world is about to change. Out of the silence, a familiar figure appears. At first, it feels impossible, like a trick of the light. A man standing near the paddock, his shoulders broad, his stance steady, his eyes locked on her. For a moment, Amy can't move. She blinks, convinced her heart is playing cruel tricks. But when the figure turns and the light falls across his face, she sees him, Ty Borden. The man she loved. The man she lost. The man who should not be standing there. Time seems to stop. The world around Amy fades away until there is only him. She remembers the countless nights she wished for this, the prayers whispered into the darkness, the dreams where she would wake up with Ty beside her again. And yet, now that he is here, standing alive before her eyes, she feels frozen, caught between disbelief and longing. Ty doesn't rush forward. He simply stands there, letting her see him, letting her feel the weight of the moment. His presence alone is enough to shatter every wall Amy built around her heart. She wants to scream, to cry, to run into his arms, but her body won't move. All she can do is whisper his name into the wind, Ty. The return is not grand or loud. There are no fireworks, no sweeping music, only raw silence, the kind that pierces deeper than any sound ever could. And that silence is what makes it so powerful. Amy's mind races with questions. How? Why? Where has he been? But none of them matter in that first instant. All that matters is that he is here, alive, real. The weight of his comeback doesn't fall only on Amy. The moment word spreads through the ranch, every heart reacts in its own way. Jack, always the rock, feels his knees weaken for the first time in years. He has lived long enough to see miracles and tragedies, but this moment blurs the line between the two. Lou, who has fought so hard to keep Amy balanced, struggles to process whether this is a blessing or a curse. And Tim, carrying his own regrets, feels the sting of anger mixed with awe. To him, Ty's return is a reminder of everything that could have been different, but it's Lindy's reaction that cuts deepest. For her, Ty is not a lost love, but a missing piece of herself. She has grown up hearing stories of her father, seeing pictures, and asking questions. But now, to see him standing there, breathing and smiling, is something her young mind cannot fully understand. She looks at him with wonder, torn between shyness and excitement, and in her innocence, she asks the one question that breaks Amy's heart wide open. Daddy, is it really you? Ty bends down, his eyes glistening, his voice quiet but steady. It's me, sweetheart. That moment, simple and unpolished, becomes the anchor for everything to come. It's not about explanations or answers. It's about connection, the bond between a father and daughter, restored in an instant after being denied for so long. What makes Ty's comeback so shocking isn't just his physical presence. It's the flood of emotions it unleashes: grief reborn, love reignited, and fear that this miracle might slip away again. The family doesn't just face Ty's return. They face every memory of his absence, every scar left behind, every choice made in his shadow. His presence reopens wounds, but it also offers the possibility of healing that none of them ever believed was possible. And so, the ranch itself seems to hold its breath with them. The fields, the barns, the horses, all of it becomes the backdrop to a reunion that feels both impossible and undeniable. Ty Borden is back, and with him, the promise of a new chapter, one that will test the strength of the family, the depth of their love, and the very meaning of home for Amy. The return of Ty is not a moment of pure joy. It is a collision of every emotion she has ever carried since the day she lost him. At first, she cannot breathe. Her body feels heavy, her mind spins, and her heart pounds so loudly it drowns out everything else around her. There he stands, the man she built her life with, the man whose absence shaped every second of her recent years. And yet, instead of rushing into his arms, she freezes. Because to accept that Ty is back means to question everything she believed to be true about her life, her grief, and even herself. The tears come before she realizes they're there. They roll down her cheeks not only because she is happy, but because she is terrified. For so long, she has built her world around the idea that Ty is gone. She forced herself to move forward, to find strength for Lindy, to mend her broken heart one piece at a time. She learned to carry the weight of his absence, to live with the ache of missing him every day. Now, seeing him alive shatters that fragile balance. The love she buried under layers of survival bursts through, leaving her vulnerable in ways she thought she would never feel again. Amy's mind runs through memories lightning speed, their wedding day, The birth of Lindy. The quiet mornings when Ty would smile at her from across the kitchen table. Those memories were treasures she clung to when grief was at its worst. But now they come back with a painful sharpness because they are no longer just memories. They are reminders of everything that was stolen from her and of everything she might dare to hope for again. Her heart says, run to him. Hold him, don't let go. But her mind whispers, what if this isn't real? What if it's a dream, a vision, a cruel trick of fate? That fear is what keeps her rooted in place. Amy knows what it feels like to lose Ty once. The thought of losing him again, after seeing him, touching him, hearing his voice, is almost unbearable. The risk of another heartbreak makes her hesitate. When Ty finally speaks her name, his voice soft but steady, it cuts through her storm of emotions. Amy trembles because that voice is more familiar to her than her own heartbeat. It's the voice that soothed her through hard times, that celebrated her victories, that promised her a lifetime of love. Hearing it again is like being pulled out of a nightmare into a sunrise. And yet, the pain of knowing how much she has suffered without him rushes back with equal force. She steps closer, her eyes locked on his, searching desperately for proof that he is real. She studies the lines of his face, the way he moves, the way his eyes reflect the love she remembers. Everything about him feels true. And yet, Amy cannot silence the voice inside her that says, why now? Where has he been? Why did he leave me to grieve alone? Her love collides with her anger, her joy clashes with her sorrow, and in that storm, she feels as though she might break in two. This is not a simple reunion. This is Amy Fleming, a woman who has carried pain with dignity, facing the impossible. It is not only her heart on the line, it is her daughter's future, her family's trust, and the fragile peace she built after Ty's departure. Every decision she makes in this moment will ripple through the rest of her life. If she opens her heart again, she risks everything. If she holds back, she may lose the one chance to restore the love she thought was gone forever. And so Amy does what only Amy can do. She listens to her heart. She lets the tears fall freely, lets the walls crumble, and finally takes the steps she has been holding back. When she reaches Ty, her hands shake as they touch his face, afraid he might disappear like a mirage. But when her fingers meet warm skin and she feels the steady rhythm of his breath, she breaks into sobs she can no longer control. Every ounce of grief she has carried crashed out of her in waves: grief, relief, joy, fear, and above all, love. For Amy, this moment is not simply about Ty coming back. It is about reclaiming a part of herself that she thought she had lost forever. It is about realizing that her love for him never faded, that it was never buried, only waiting for the day when it could breathe again. And now, standing face to face with him, Amy must accept the truth. Ty's return is not just a second chance at love. It is the beginning of a journey that will test her courage, her faith, and her willingness to trust the man she has always believed was her soulmate. For all the chaos swirling in the hearts of the adults, it is Lindy's perspective that cuts straight to the soul of the moment. To Amy and the rest of the family, Ty's return carries years of history, grief, and unspoken questions. But to Lindy, the man standing before her is both a stranger and a dream come true. She has grown up with stories of him, bedtime tales whispered in the soft glow of her night lamp. She has seen pictures, a young man smiling beside her mother, holding her as a baby, standing tall with horses in the background. But those images never moved, never breathed. Now, for the very first time, the father she only knew through memory and imagination is standing before her. Alive and real, Lindy stares at him with wide eyes, her little hands gripping the sides of her dress as if steadying herself against a wave of emotions she doesn't yet know how to name. She tilts her head slightly, studying his face with the raw honesty only a child can have. The silence stretches, and for a moment, no one breathes. Then, in the most delicate voice, trembling between wonder and confusion, she asks, "Are you my daddy?" That single question pierces through every heart in the ranch. Amy feels her chest tighten, Jack lowers his gaze, and even Ty struggles to keep his composure. It is not just an innocent inquiry. It is the echo of years Lindy has lived without him, the weight of her longing carried in one fragile sentence. She doesn't say it as if she doubts, she says it as if she desperately hopes the answer will be yes. Ty kneels down, his eyes meeting hers at her level, and for the first time in years, his voice trembles. Yes, Lindy, I'm your daddy. The words are simple, but in them lies a universe of promises, promises he couldn't keep before, but is determined to keep now. Lindy studies him again, searching for truth the way only a child can. Then, slowly, as if testing the reality of the moment, she takes a tiny step closer. Her hands, still small and unsure, reach out and brush against his arm. When she feels the warmth of his skin, her face lights up with a mixture of surprise and joy. A giggle escapes her lips, half disbelief, half delight, and she throws herself into his arms with the innocence of a child who knows nothing of betrayal, loss, or fear. In that moment, the years apart vanish for her. There are no complicated questions, no doubts, no anger. For Lindy, the only thing that matters is that her daddy is here, holding her, and that the emptiness she never understood has suddenly been filled. Amy watches this scene unfold with tears in her eyes. It is both beautiful and heartbreaking to witness. Beautiful, because Lindy has finally been given what she has always deserved, her father's embrace. Heartbreaking, because Amy knows the risks. She knows how fragile miracles can be, how quickly hope can turn into heartbreak. But as she watches Lindy smile wider than ever before, she cannot bring herself to interrupt. This is Lindy's moment, pure and untouched by the scars the adults carry. The rest of the family feels the weight of it too. Jack's weathered face softens as he sees innocence triumph over years of sorrow. Lou wipes away silent tears, recognizing that her niece has been given a gift no one thought possible. Even Tim, often guarded with his emotions, finds himself choked with something deeper than words, pride, regret, and relief all knotted together. Lindy's laughter carries across the ranch like sunlight breaking through a storm. She chatters quickly, asking Ty questions only a child could think of. Do you like horses like me? Can you ride fast? Did you really build the barn with Mommy? Can you tell me a story before bed? Every word she says is a reminder that she has been waiting her whole life for this chance, even if she didn't know it. And Ty listens, smiling through tears, answering her with patience and love, as though each question is a treasure he has longed to receive. What makes Lindy's reaction so unique is her innocence. She doesn't carry the pain of years without him in the way Amy does. She doesn't fear what his return might mean for the family. She doesn't analyze or question the how or why. To Lindy, her father's comeback is not a mystery to solve, but a blessing to embrace. Her heart is open in a way only a child's can be, free of bitterness, free of hesitation, full only of love. And it is in her laughter, her touch, and her acceptance that the rest of the family finds hope. For if Lindy can welcome Ty back without fear, perhaps they, too, can learn to set aside their doubts. Perhaps, in her simple, honest love, lies the path for the entire family to heal. In that moment, Ty is not just Amy's husband, not just a man returning from the shadows of the past. He is a father, whole and present. And through Lindy's innocent embrace, he is reminded of what truly matters, not explanations, not regrets, but the chance to love and be loved again.